Tamale Mirundi nsanyusa okulabako nsubira oli bulungi
twasoma kubeera bubi
buli kimu kitambula
ndi bubi mbu covid ekuyisizza etya kati ate covid bwetuuka okuyisa nze obubi abanaku banaabeera bati
kituufu
everything is a challenge
nkulaba obulamu bulungi nnyo era nga akasaati koyambale n'akakofiira kalagirawo ddala nti ewuwo munnaye
era bwenyambala ate nakubuulire awagira Museveni talina kyalina
awagira Museveni talina kyalina
nawandiika obutabo mu different languages this is a Kinyankole book mu campaign obulimba bwa Besigye nani ne Gundi nempandika obutabo bungi banziba millions zange ebikumi bitano has never been paid. I hear people getting billions. For us, we don't work for money. Kubanzi bana basajja nabategeera nabagamba tukita simiriza obugero. I'm a hunting dog from 7 never tukitegeera. A dog hunts for the master and the self.
Na yefunako
walabye embwa ewerekera abagenda okusola ebinyeebwa
tebaliyo kaibe bijanja aletya kuba nyama
emanyi okubuga waliyogera byeko mu nyanja
teriyo
but they don't understand kati ffe tulina destination ekyokubiri tukiyita mu political science tukiyita systems analysis I look at a system y'abantu ekola etya system y'abantu ffe batusomesa mu byobufuzi when a leader or a political party humiliates, disregards those who deliver committed service to him or to the party, ends up using mercenaries. This is where the movement is.
Katandikirawo omukulu Tamale Mirundi. Olunaku olw'eggulo munnamawulire gwe tulidde ebbanga nga tumusomako tumuwuliriza tumulaba yasaze eddiiro nga oluvannyuma lw'okukwata kaadi ya NUP okumala ennaku 27 n'amala tubalabe bannamawulire bangi omuli Betty Nambooze omuli Andrew Muwenda naawe mwennyini Tamale Mirundi wali munnamawulire n'omala n'osala eddiiro kitegeeza ki
bannamawulire abali professional kyekibakola obubi tulonda ekifo ky'omunnamawulire muleeta omusomi w'ebirango yasoma mu institute oyo gwombuulira mala obudde bwange kakati nze kankubuulire
Tamale Mirundi abantu abavuddeyo nga bawakanya gavumenti eriko ne bamala ne basala eddiiro
ekyo kyoba oyogera
kitegeeza ki kuba naye wali omu ku bo abali bawakanya gavumenti ne mala ne basala eddiiro
eyo guluupu nze bano abasajja nali mbamanyi kuva mu nsiko singa nalinga musinga siva wasale nalaba sale mu 83 nampa n'assignment mbatwalira ebintu. Do you see me in Sally's place?
Not at all.
I have my destination. Nina byengoba. And when I look around, Katonda yampa ne mali myaka 14 mu kifo eky'amaanyi ennyo. I look at these people. Nimbategeera. Nze nalina simwogere mu 96. I was one of his advisors. In fact, omu ku reporters yafa. Mutabani we yazze n'andaba ku weekend. Nimugamba mama wa jjajja walidda nti ali mu nnyendo. Nimugamba mulowooza okuziika kw'oyo omwana Luwemba attracted all the DP leaders, the opposition leaders. Semwogere yali ava gindi mbalala eyo n'asanga ekimotoka ky'amagye mu kkubo nga kiringa ekifudde ne kizunga mu kkubo. Ekyamuyamba yali mu motoka ngumu ya Benz. Banne oyo omwana n'afa. Nababuuza nti Semwogere mugendayo. Nali ne Semwogere. Semwogere twakwatagana mu ngalo ntwawukana. Why? Yaleeta aba UPC. Ne muga Semwogere tosobola kusonyiwa kusinga Katonda. The UPCs have come, they will take away your votes and they are coming with nothing. Nga bwe mulaba abakyuka. Nababulya ne mbagamba ono omwana namuwandiikako.
Bobi
Wine. Kaddi kano. I predicted Bobi Wine. Mu katabo kange kano. Kaddi kano.
Ka 23 wakawandika nga Sunday 23 July 2017.
Is it a revolution or victory? I analyze Bobi Wine. Longe ago. But I have time. Kakati kyegamba nze Semwogere ekyanzijayo on principle. Era nze Gundi toka nalisi bamanyi. Abo bonna bamanyi bonna.
Babasajja mivule.
Yes. Kubanga you see nze mbagamba. What does one want? What do you want to achieve in your life? Do you have a destination? nze mbaga nti I suffer setbacks. If I'm traveling to Kajansi and you offer me a lift, you drop me at Namasuba, you have made my journey shorter. I can walk to Kajansi. Naye I cannot become a permanent. Kuba nabasoma bano. Nkugambye principle esooka. Ti any leader or political party that humiliates, that disregards, that does not reward its committed cadres will end up using mercenaries. This is what is happening. It answers it. And you end up killing both. Oh no, in political science, you cannot move from one extreme end of politics to the other. That's why Bidandi said you cannot turn around and then contest with Museveni. You must explain that the Museveni I supported has changed. Mbabazi, on record, tomorrow you say what? You were super minister, I did not have powers. Do you believe that people are gullible? You can only move from one extreme politics to the other of a society when it is divine. Nti Saulo yafuuka Paulo. Katonda kugamba nti Saulo njiganyiza ki? Yafuuka Paulo. A quote of the Bible was written by this man.
True.
Why? What many people don't know. Paulo was a lecturer in University of Pharisayo at that time. Jesus was responding to the Pharisayo who were knowledgeable. Umuntu omulala genda omusome mu Busiraamu bamuyita woman.
So
Katonda ye yamulagira. Anybody who moves from one extreme end of politics to the other, taina kyatwala. If a leader waits Museveni to sack you, toina kyotwala. Because kitegeeza singa teyaggobye. In fact, we reject to society. Kakati mukimutandategeera nti abo babbalamu bani. First of all, I cannot associate with Balaam. Balaam is associated with buying. If today I crossed Bobby Wine, unless I'm received by Bobby Wine, tewali mulala ajja.
Kyogamba kano yekuye mupiira basajja muvule.
Yes. But what was the destination? Waliwo omwana akaabanga mulwadde ne muwe ebbere n'aligaana. Ne wabawo omwana akaabira okuyonga. Tutambula n'abantu nga tugenda okuziika. Ng'abamu basazi ba nsawo. Nabo baba bagenda kuziika. You see, we're seated in the same car. Ayagala ki? Kusaasira ayagala ki? Oyo ayagala ki? Ono ayagala ki omuyimbi? What do I want?
Byanfuna.
Nze njagala ki? I have a destination.
Kachoka basajja mu batayina destination.
Nti okusanyawo Sodoma ne Gomora yabasaba abantu basatu ne babulamu. Don't think that Uganda will be governed by mafias all of the time. There will be a time for Ugandans to demand era ne mafia irwana njiraba. Kati ekyokubiri mu kyemutamanyi nti bana abasajja ba mafia babala basinga. Kakati omuntu ngondi media institution bagenda jiwa sente okusinza ku balabi baayo.
Kituufu.
Kati bano ababbi balowooza nti by plucking this man tubalamuzi studio station babawe sente nti ayina value. Tewalabye One New Vision mbu akozeewo gundi ey'oluluwo. Why? Tewalabye Edombo mbu Dombo. We have money to pay for your airtime. If you have money to pay for my airtime, buy me an underwear also. Obujuzi bwennyini obubunyira ddala. These MPs, the nominated MPs, should select which is suitable media. Ewulirwe waabwe. Kati Dombo alina kana aka New Vision. Baagala babbire wali. Bakusasulidde obudde. Let any fool, any idiot tamper with my programs. I've been sustaining my programs out of sacrifice. You have been switching off my programs. When it comes to elections, you land on me, I smash your head. That's me. Kati mwetemina principles temumalaako, nze mmalako lwaki. I have the cost of resistance. I rejected the job for 7 years. I'm still around. None of my children is out of school. All of my wives are driving cars. Kakati chichi. Nze nina cost of resistance. Museveni yalina cost of resistance. Museveni tells us, he had a cause. Do you believe Nyerere yali tasobola convincing Obote nti wa Museveni omulimu? Etakisobola. Museveni bw'osoma ekitabo ki The Earlier One, which I translated mu Luganda ne bakinzibako naye nze sente nazirya nsimba akasiko ka kalidaali and it was popular in Uganda. People understand in their local languages. Kakati Museveni agamba mu kitabo kye nti after attacking Kabamba twagenda ku faamu ya Sebuliba. Bannaffe abamu ne bagamba nti watuleese kutussa because many believed nti Museveni alina amagye amagye gagenda kuwamba government. The president tells us nti babaleka ne bakomawo, but he does not mention their names. Their cause was different. They were opportunists. Kakati gwe tolowooza nti omuwala agenda mu busisita aba yabula abalinzi ku kyalo. Ye commitment ye eri ku ki to serve God. So you cannot band all of us. Two, nti mafia yerowooza nti abantu basiru. Era I want to tell you, Museveni is not fighting Bobi Wine. Not at all. Museveni is fighting a rebellion inside his palace.
Kitegeeza kyekyo Tamale Mirundi.
Anti kakati kana katabo kange kasome mu introduction yokka. Nti nze amulake buno bonna bwange and others are really. I rely on knowledge. I did mass communication, I'm a mass communicator. Ojako TVN, ojijako, mbwataje tukole nkuta. I work alone. If the president believes that he needs my services, I must have a special budget. Not under anybody. I'm above Dombo. I'm above Nabako. How can Dombo control me? I cannot attend where Dombo is sharing as far as the media is concerned. Yariaba the coach, mu media. Dombo yariaba the coach, mu media. Do you call me when Dombo is sharing in the meeting? Me, Mutanu Mirundi, Swere Mpunu. Kakati Jenkubolira. All of these issues you are discussing originate from here. Nawandika katava. Introduction.
For quite a long time, there existed a common belief among the managers of Coca-Cola, a giant manufacturer of soft drinks, that their arch rival in the market was Pepsi Cola. It was until Coca-Cola appointed a new manager from East Africa region that this belief was disproved. The new manager sat down to draw a new marketing strategy for the company, only to find out that the centuries-old belief was untrue. This phenomenon is not so strange across the world. People fail to understand their real enemies, but spend most of their lives in illusion of perceived enemies. The findings in the new manager's report were both intriguing and amazing. The findings revealed that Pepsi Cola was not the biggest supplier of soft drinks in East Africa, and therefore, a majority of the population in East Africa who wanted to drink either Coca-Cola or Pepsi Cola could not do so because none of the products was available in most of the small towns across East Africa.
For a long time, the manager of Coca-Cola was Pepsi Cola their biggest competitor. Until the new manager came to East Africa, Nakola research. N'akizula nga Coca-Cola gyetatuuka ne Pepsi tetuukayo. N'agamba ki, bring these big refrigerators mulaba ebweru tutuuke ne Pepsi Cola gyatatuuka. We are not competing with the Pepsi Cola because Pepsi Cola gyatatuuka naffe tetutuukayo. Bali banywa ki? Let us get these people. Kakati ne politics bwali.
So Bobi Wine is Museveni talwanyisa Bobi Wine.
Museveni talwanyisa Bobi Wine. Museveni yalinga Coca-Cola bwalowooza nga nti Pepsi nga si Pepsi. And this, why did I name it a curse? To set up curse. Nakawandika. When did I write this book? And Bonabapu Damne were producing, but earlier, Nimputerako. Nti Obate yalowooza the kingdoms, because Obote did not want to share power. A dictator cannot share power. That's why, as a political scientist, I'm amazed whenever I hear people accusing Museveni of being a dictator. When you have several layers of authority in Uganda, district is an entity. Nebatambula ebweru, nebasaininga memoranda, nebakola ki, bagenda mu non-government organization, nebajjayo sente. A dictator cannot allow several centers of authority. Kakati Obote bwe yajja yayagala okuteekawo a single party arrangement. eggwanga alifuge ne political parties naziwera but Idi Amin who toppled him was always close to him. So the animal of Obote
yali munda mu ye
teyali kingdoms. Amin was not a former king of the abolitionist kingdoms.
teyalina
Teyali
omulaba abeera munda
yes.
gwe
Kakati nenkugamba nti look what Gundi Obote again. Look what Amin. Amin believed took almost his attention on Tanzania. Obote akomawo. Obote akomawo. I come near the border, Mutukula, near the border. Twayina enkambi ye Masaka suicide, nga tuyina ku buyambi mu Kalitunsi, nga tuyina Essanje, nga tuyina Sangobbe, nga tuyina Mutukula. 45. Obongo bwe bonna buli kwani. Until we invaded Tanzania. But the people who are killing Ugandans, who are putting them in caboots, we are not sent by Nyerere. He annexed Kagera, which toppled him. The Tanzanians, he incited the Tanzanians and they toppled him. Nenga abata abantu baliruda. Mariamu Nyerere yali amufuga. Mustafa Adisi Nyerere yali amufuga. Faruku Minawa Nyerere yali amufuga. Obote comes back, concentrated on Museveni. Everything was done on Museveni. We had the North Korean commandos training the we had the advanced British training team here. We have the Tanzanians here training Obote's army. And in 1984, Obote training Abajase Mitwaleji, Naga Wogole to flash to solve the Museveni menace once and for all. Who toppled him? Paulo Muanga, he's the vice president. And Okero, who was a commander. He was not Museveni. Museveni was far away by the time. Okay, Obote was toppled. Museveni was outside the country. All the efforts the president is making to decimate this man, Zabwere, Mafia Yemutabula, Mafia. Is Bobby Wine the man? Has Bobby Wine's people stolen COVID money? Has Bobby Wine's people stolen money intended for radios? I've read this man's newspaper. Radios are here. You read here. How?
Submission of bids. Bids should be submitted to address below, no later than the date and time of the deadline law. Late bids will be rejected. Date of deadline yearly 22nd August 2020. Time of deadline 11 a.m. Address Minister of Education and Sports.
You cannot edit an English newspaper when you are stupid. And I doubt he's not stupid, but he's caught up with a mafia. He thinks that he can deceive everybody. If the tenders were recently opened, bids, how can the radios come in the country now? Two, we have two types of radios. They were allocated 400 billions on the project. The first consignment of radios was to come during the COVID, when the schools are not opening. Kakati today, you are talking about the resumption of schools, radios. Which type of radios have arrived? The radios that have arrived are in his head. If they have arrived, you wouldn't be talking about the resumption of schools. If the radios have arrived. If they have arrived, and they are the same radio stations that could help the students, then the bids would stop. Nabagamba nti president bamutwala mu Gundi n'ebifaananyi biina mu kizimbe ekitaliiyo nga bakisanzeeko ne bamugamba nti buy Uganda. About 4 million zina kukolebwa wantu tulina ba manufacturer. Let anybody tell me whether we have a radio manufacturing company in Uganda. Ne batwala na bino niye bajja bayola. These are documented things. And when I document some of these things at the embassies,
birabibwa
bisomebwa biri documented
biwulibwa
ojja kulaba yogwe bakutte omuchina yadduka omuchina
oli kwagamba yesiga kiwi
omuchina yesiga kiwi akala kagendedde mugundi mu kibox kya nyanya ku airport obulala buli bubiri fugitive buli wa muntu but what did I do about the Chinese soko osomewa abachina nabagamba ki
finally China should understand that the projects being implemented in Africa are permanent monuments that form bases from which its reputation can be appreciated or discredited. It should be noted that China has financed several projects in Uganda, including an ice cream plant, Kibimba Rice Scheme, and Mandela National Stadium. China should be mindful of the democratic process going on in Africa, and its policy should not be very far from what America and European countries have deployed. China should avoid a status of ideas and of Indians and Lebanese who are always targeted during political upheavals in East Africa. Following the failed coup in Kenya in 1983, angry mobs targeted Indian women and shops. This state of affairs happens when citizens perceive that foreigners have taken over what the local people can do.
Yes, Nabagamba, we call it a bogey. In East Africa, the Indians are hated. Why? They live a slightly better life than others. The moment you live a slightly better life than others, you compete with the natives over resources, you are gone. Why do people talk about Banyarwanda here? Not the Congolese. Not
because they live a better life than others.
They compete with us. That's why there was a hot debate in the parliament in NRC about the future of the Banyarwanda officers in Yame. Rwejema was the deputy minister.
True.
Excellency Kagame was head of the same way. Ugandans were perturbed. So, but the Congolese with their Bikoyi, with their Lesu, who cares about them?
No one cares about them.
Why has these Europeans, why have they maintained their stay in Africa for long? Abachina, babi engato, Abachina, babi damu, Abachina, every day the Chinese have risked their future in Africa, especially in Uganda. Lwachi Tanzania, badde n'Abachina bazinga mu Tanzania gonde, teyekokola Abachina nga bali mu Uganda. Why is it that during Amin's time, the Chinese put up strong monuments, Mandela, ice plant, Kibimba ice cream? The problem is that the mafias have infiltrated the Chinese. Recently, bali bagambye president nti naitiro ina okola engoye tetusobola kwambala ngoye zammwe. Do you believe that in Japan there are no Mercedes Benzes? First put something on a standard. Bagobya abantu bonna Abachina. Whoever is using the Chinese is making their stay here very short-lived.
Tamale, mundowoza n'endaba y'ebintu, is there need to worry about Chinese? Kuba waliwo ebyogerwa.
Why are we not talking about the Americans? Why are we not talking about the British who were here for 70 years? Why do we talk about the Chinese? The Chinese are being used by the mafia gang. And they have surrendered.
What window was the gang?
Gondi, Yesimba, 54 billion was taken using a fake Chinese. These radio stations, a Chinese had to paint himself, Kiwi, to run away. In these radio sets, another Chinese fled the country. This guy started the luggage at Entebbe airport. 2 Chinese are fugitives in Goma, where the mafias have a melting company.
Tamale Mirundi.
Basajja bansikedi bankubidde simu ne banga nti oye tulagirire nenga nti utafiira omukwano gwange yamanyi olulingala nja kumunoonya bagamba tulagirire we bali tubanywe balabika amakuti ya gasente ge babyewa mugali eno tunakuwa kati bagenda kuduma balaga Nairobi naye munaakomawa. Stop stealing money. So I'm telling you, this is the easiest election for President Museveni.
Tamale Mirundi.
Why? Because we don't have a strong opposition in Uganda. the opposition which is being cropped up is because of the mafias.
Tamale
But mafia bayina 3 issues which is disturbing them. Mafias have been using people and dumping them.
Tamale Mirundi kusonga abachina ebakwesa ba mafia
bakwesa
abachina China waliwo endowooza egamba nti abachina initially wali bagamba muzaale babiri kati bazaala basatu n'okusobawo nga bagamba nti bazaala yagenda okujja mu Africa n'enkola y'okudepopulizing China.
9 million Chinese.
Olowooza omuchina si yakwesa ba
mafias. There are 9 million
mafias.
Chinese in Angola. There in Uganda we must have 2 million Chinese. First of all, the Chinese live in secrecy. But what exposes the Chinese is their food in the supermarkets. Do we eat snakes?
Not at all.
Yes. Once you see the Chinese food in the supermarket dominating our supermarkets, it means the Chinese are here. But it's secretive. But that is not me. The Ugandans are in China, and China has abandoned you. I admire the Chinese. In fact, when we talk about COVID, I'm going to write, you will read my book, what I predicted about the Chinese. But what I'm saying, the Chinese are also victims. And China is a worse imperialist. Why? They have got their money through the nose. When you see African leaders running to China for money, they think that the Chinese have made this money through miracles. It's not a miracle. China is very tough on its money. Once they catch you stealing money as the thieves here do, you are marooned on an island, you are executed irrespective of your contribution and status, you face life imprisonment. Kakati mumulowooza nti abachina bangu nnyo olina yekweka mu bachina olina yekweka mu bachina ne batwala ne sandals ne batwala ki ne batwala ki. This eno President Museveni, this is the easiest election as long as he can tackle the problem. Kakati mukano nakubuulira soma wano nkubuulire nti President naye namuwandika n'akatabana kabana nemba buli akadaaga temuyisobola kujooga bantu. What is eating up kadaga? Mukadaga bamala omujooga gy'abakolere. I predicted parliament. Nti parliament would be hostile to Museveni. Why? The way the mafias blundered, bargaining up. Do you see? I told you. Nti even Olanya moves consciously. Bamukozesa ne bamuddukako. They are practice. Kakati ono omukazi anywa yajja nakweza abadde mu binnyo ne mukubaka akatabo. Tugenda kumenya mayumba g'abahamu, tugenda kukola kyafulumiriza 5 billion. Bamuwagawaga kati anywa yatunde yagaba ekibira ebunyolo n'akigabira abasimbi b'ebikajjo. Museveni yamubuuza wakikola otya. Ani yakulagira? Bali beekukumye bannannyini nsi. Deriyo bamafia beekukumye bati. Era I have written a book. Nti if you want to serve these mafias, you can either be omulusula or omunyampi. Abalusula. But balina mukwano. Anywa badduse asiki anywa. Nti ani yakugamba okutunda ekibira. Ono omukazi wa energy namaze mukuba. Yabadde reya yabadde sente azitwala mu gundi. Sente za reya ezo twazinunudde. Kakati ono omukazi mutibwa kati bagobyeyo embwa naye ani amubaddemu. Beekukumye bwe bati bali mu state house.
Tamale ba mafias boboyogerako.
Babe
President Museveni abamanyi
naye alwana nabo.
Lwaki tabakuba
n'abajjawo. Kana akasajja ka New Vision kakugamba mu radio zazze. Ate example of schools. If radios are the same radios to serve the same purpose, communication, and a consignment arrived, when the schools are taken, what do you do in normal circumstances? Nti watumye omwana ennyama ne wabaawo n'abaleetedde. What do you do? Emumugirira ekyaggulo temugiyiwa naye kasajja gwe walaba. N'omutwe gwako n'omutwe n'obugaalubindi. Whom are you telling lies? If we have, okay, now that the radios that were supposed to be used by students during COVID have arrived, then we divert this money that you're going to use to buy radios as an election, because these are radios. Okumenya Museveni alina ekizibu. Bicycle za yero wazirabyeko. Wazirabyeko kazi kubanga ako kekejenti kennyini aka akasajja ke kabayambe nnyo kekakuba ebyekisirusiru byonna ne bukedde How can you have a credible national newspaper? You publish an article that an innocent a businesswoman was killed by brokers. Have you seen the story anywhere? In almost circumstances, every newspaper must make a follow-up. Where is this follow-up? From Bukid. I'm going to mobilize the people. When any newspaper that is in hands of a mafia editor, we don't buy it. And I have the influence. Kasatu tegeera nti kasajja kakuba bya busiru ba mafia be bakakozesa. Don't buy the newspaper. Temulugula kalyokwekadde esironko kubanga boogera bya busiru. You published a story that a woman has been killed. The police is not updating up. You are not making a follow-up.
Era nga wetwogerera ennaku ntono nnyo emabega kaawo permanent secretary mu kitongole eky'ebyobulamu Honorable Dana Atwine yavuddeyo n'afuna atongoza emitwalo 24 Tamale Mirundi kansooke mpiseewo kano
ebyo bya busiru.
Dana Atwine yavuddeyo n'atongoza emitwalo 24 n'ekitundu zaabo abaagala okwekebeza naddala abo truck drivers abayingira mu nsi yattu Uganda. Yabagambye nga tonnayingira oteeka okuba nga ogenda keberebwa ekirwadde kya COVID-19 ate nga ogenda sasula emitwalo 24 n'ekitundu. Ne companies nga STV in case oyagala okebeza abakozi bammwe weetaaga okusasula emitwalo 24 n'ekitundu. Tamale Mirundi nkimanyi obadde obisa amatuni noozo obadde ompuliriza emitwalo 24 n'ekitundu abo abaagala okwekebeza ekirwadde kya COVID-19.
It stinks like a Malwa toilet. Don't never waste my time on such stupid things. You read
Tamale Mirundi bannayuganda ensonga ebadyogerako.
Read here. They are provoking people to riot. Mukazi gwe kyononyojja ekifuna. Bajja kukifuna. These are Museveni's enemies who are forcing people to riot. Let them
appointed by the president.
Let them riot. This is a coup in a different fashion. Museveni is facing a rebellion from his team. Sibasiru. Sibasiru. These people are intelligent. But this is a coup in your president many people believe that when you have a group that has invested heavily in the country, of stability, no, they develop into Akazu, and the Akazu eats its leader. These people believe abantu batutegedde tubabbi kubanga nabagamba tibakozesa politics
yes countries
bo balowooza ababbi baawano nti balinga ab'e Kenya. Ab'e Kenya tebabbanga ku bintu by'abantu. Ab'e Kenya gavumenti ya Bungereza n'eya Germany ya contributing a grant of $500,000 n'egula ebintu mu bali departing settlers. Bano babba tax n'aleeta bus na dispersing aba nabba owino nabba ki ne baddira ente ez'abalunzi bannaabwe ne bagamba nti kalusu bazikole eddondolo ekiro nadira ennyama nagiteekamu eddagala effu kubanga is exporting. Bawunye mu nju bawunye mu toyi from byobufuzi batugamba nti once in a group you feel in a group in your pockets inside your house you hate it and you fight back. Kasita obba obutale nobba egundi sente za covid nobba rediyo za gundi nobba no, this is too much.
Dana Atwine yavudde n'agamba nti testing kits tezimala.
Soma wano. Soma wano.
Katusooke tusome wano eno.
Soma wano nkubuulire.
A prominent businessman hired a consultant to reorganize his company which was facing financial problems. The consultant found out that the businessman was overspending on luxuries instead of reinvesting the profits into the company. The consultant advised him to cut down on his expenditure, which he rejected, and the company collapsed. Why couldn't this man adjust his luxurious life? The answer was that, like Obi, he could not disengage from the Clara machine that he had become part of the puzzle of his life. This attitude is common in politics. This is one reason why governments lose power or be defeated in elections. Losing power means that the government embarked on a self-destruction mission. It did mistakes that were avoidable. A defeat means that voters wanted change. It does not depend on the performance of the government. Therefore, in many cases, leaders operate like Obi. They find themselves at a point of no return. Okay.
Abakulembeze beesanga akazu nga tebasobola kejjako.
Okay.
Singa wasoma nnolo nga ti izi mwe nakijja ti omulenzi Obi yava bweru n'akwana Kirala. Kirala nga be bazaali be baani abali live. Naye nga bwe bamugamba nti omuwala akumala wa teyetajja mufumbiro yadda mukubba ssente mu gavumenti ne bamukwata. Kaka ne babuuza why couldn't he disengage from the Kirala machine? Kirala had become part and parcel of his life. Era yababuuza bamugamba abawufe byabamuwera sente, why don't you pay us? But after struggling so much, you put me in a group where members greet each other. How does the car behave? Do they want me to say that my car is off the road because I failed to pay my insurance? Ye Obi. Kati n'abakulembeze beesanga nga balina akakundi ke batasobola kwejjako. Kafuuka party and person ne bakalowooza tiko kalina kubeera appeased. Akakundi kano katuuka ekiseera kano akazu katta mukama waako. Kubaka akati batuuka ne baliyorayizinga nti abantu batutegedde. People are bitter. Yeah? There is no sensible woman who can strip herself naked before drunkard men. They rape her. Diana yeta chimanyi. Tamanyi nti abantu bali bitter ate mmwe mulinde. You wait when the schools resume open. Mugenda kulaba nti ebizimbe but there was no inspection of schools. There was no maintaining department. Mugenda kusanga ebizimbe nti bigenda kuwa they are fit for abaana.
Ebimbatanse birundira
yes, bagenda bimenya. Kakati mugenda kusanga mu kisiibo nabagamba nti mu kisiibo n'omusiramu atalina ssente zirya mmere mulowooza yasiibi naye nga yasangiddwa asiiba. Kakati abaana babadde tebasomanga n'abaavu batudde. What you are seeing in arcades where tenants are fighting landlords, it is going to be intensified. It is going to be multiplied 100 times by people going to school. Mbabulirira oyo omuwala yereege. Yes, Uganda is like a house gye baterekamu ebidomola by'amafuta. Tozunza kabiriiti. Yebajjagalira kwani mubbye ssente z'enzige, mubbye amatete mwagawa abantu, mubbye emmere mugitaddemu obutwa. What else do you want? Uganda, even if Ugandans are very tolerant, muwala gwe. Don't it is only a stupid woman who stripped herself naked before drunkard men.
Tamale chogamba dana kuba
no situation tajimanyi.
Provoking abantu.
Kubanga ayina mulamu we naye bw'ati bw'alowooza balina group yaabwe erowooza mujja kudduka. The super group that is holding this country is Museveni. He goes in the morning, in the evening, chaos.
Ogambye ba mafia bali munda mwenyini. Bwabanga
president
State House.
Bakuwa sente mmeka. Ne bakuwa okugula gundi.
Tamale.
Ne bakuwa awulira. Ne bakuwa okugula masks. N'oleeta bunika bw'abaana abato. These are knickers for children. Bukwata matameni. You buy knickers instead of gold. Children knickers. Which one have you produced? Read the Chinese. Nakugamba, I've told you. To me, I predicted that the Chinese will handle this. And very predicted. When I predicted 10 things, I see 8. I will be Diana running away. I will see this city burning. If you are speaking, get good. The people advisors. Such a girl should get an advisor, serious advisor. That these are not spokeable. You are stripping naked before drunkard men. You girl. Read here.
Tamale wano ogamba nti, I have always urged that China has developed faster than India, which has a bigger number of its population educated. This can be further explained by the following. India is engaged in a cold war with Pakistan, which was which has forced it to invest more in defense in order to maintain a military edge over its rivals. Currently, both India and Pakistan are nuclear powers. Rampant and stinking corruption in India affects its development. China does not operate under elective democracy, whereas India is the largest democracy. Before a decision that affects many people is made in India, leaders must consider the election calendar first. India's unity has been undermined by sectarian interests and weak governments rising out of political alliances. On the other hand, China is under a dictatorship.
Parliament
in China, with all its 4,000 MPs, is just a rubber stamp. Yet the Indian Parliament is vibrant. China has managed to control riots and strikes that undermined implementation of unpopular government policies, which at times are beneficial to the country's development.
Nabaganti kasita China tekkiriza bubbi. Eyatwala akabuke China yatuyamba nnyo. The Chinese are well organized. Kyolaba America kabase na wano. It is easier to control. Nkugambye nti my prediction at that time was babagamba nti akawuka kavudde China. Nimbaga nti yakatadde yakozesa experiment in China. The Chinese are well organized. Era bakakwata dda. Yes. Naye gwe woyina ababbi abatakwatibwako nti ababbi n'olwaleero nina kugundi yange nakubya akatambi kaliko emitwalo egi nga boogera ababbi nga boogera nze what pains me among the mafia gang there is a professor. The president knows the professor because why does the professor will tell you what the president is planning. I heard him saying nti obutambi mirundi bwaweereza mbuwuliramu naye omusajja kyatusonyiye busonyi ekitegeeza n'obutambi bwa president abusoma professor. But professor mugezi nnyo. If the president can call that professor, ne boogera bambi, professor sees doom. Professor has a proper view about the impact of COVID-19 in this country. That professor. But I think he fears to tell the president the truth. Two, the professor also believes that unless Museveni handles the gang, which has failed to do, bali baganga members bajoze buli muntu kati yogera ku UTL bani abajirimu yosika uyo mwala yajirimu hapana UTL Gaddafi mwe yagula sente baziwerezanga ebweru Gaddafi yakula mu shares Libya baziwerezanga ebweru tetumanyi bajirimu tetumanyi politics gundi bino bye muzanya ebyo embassies. You think I don't know nti waliwo ekikampuni ekitunda embassies ekizimanaginga innocent gundi staff nze simanyi. You think simanyi lutalo luli mugundi mukakanizi yatugamba mbu twaweereza sente China nga ziri more than what was wanted. Mukakanizi tera us sente gye waziteeka
bagamba sente za Tamale.
You see what punishment did he give to somebody eyaweereza sente esinga obungi mukakanizi
ezali ez'aba students
you tell that rubbish to the population. Omanya Abaganda bayina enkola yaabwe bakugamba mbwe ekizimba kyabulidde mu mubiri bw'oba obadde olyengege eggumba n'olimira oli safe oba toli safe kuba ligenda kufumita ebyenda byonna. You talk rubbish, you control the media, but people batuula n'abammwe bennyini. And what is making us happy, the mafia gang is not tribalistic. Tebakulimbangako. The mafia gang is not tribalistic. Mafia gang fellowship is driven by their urge for money, insatiable urge for money. Kubanga, I can give you an examples. Look, Mugundi, Malaya, baba $50 million. Uyo muchayina yadduse president yalagira bagende bakebera emiti gy'amasanyalaze ne wayaling ngenkuyegeza zire ginyinya gitinga amanyo g'abakadde katemye butemya akachayina ne kadduka president naga nti companies zonna muzibula kalisingi omunene nakuba essimu mu internal affairs n'abagamba temubajjako working permit kati government ki ono aboggola n'ono aboggola. That's why I cannot be a minister in this government. Kakati nkugamba
Tamale sokolabe oyambala yero kakofira ka yere sate yere tali ya yero lwaki toyambako President Museveni
okwagamba
okwogera ngeri gy'oyogeramu kiraga nti ba mafias at one point in time basobola okuwa government eno
baweddeyo nabagamba nze nali njogerera Kawempe ne mbagamba nti kasite messe erume kanzu ya nanyinimu tesula mu nyumba kuba Abaganda babeeranga ne kanzu emu yegenda ku bukwe yegenda wa kati agijjeyo ng'emmese yagiruma agigulira Dyson mbabazi teyafuluma nabaga nti emmese bweruma obugoye bw'abaana nannyini maka agamba buli empuuta ne butanaaba naye kasiteekwata ku kanzu ya nannyinimu bajja gigulya dyson aipulitikitedi mbabazi nabaga nti mu nnyumba mulimu emmese naye emmese etigomeza obugoye bw'abaana naye etigomya buli kintu kyonna naye kati tugiwonye kasiteeramuzizza ku kanzu ya nannyinimu golooza abaganda bayimba baga nannyinimu atamidde tokwata ku mmere ye nannyinimu atamidde tokwata ku mmere ye omwekyo baba bategeeza nti goyinza okulaba omusajja nga atamidde n'olebera n'eddiiro mu mukazi we nti asigadde mu ddiiro ne mukazi we kino kitamidde omuganda ga nannyinimu atamidde tokwata ku mmere ye nannyinimu atamidde tokwata ku mmere ye ebitamivu bwe biyimba mu bbaala bitegeera nti ono ayagala nakwanamuka omusajja ono amugulira omwenge kubanga bbaawo akoze eki kati liri ettamivu mu kumuwooninga kyeziva liyimba nannyinimu atamidde tokwata ku mmere ye nannyinimu atamidde tokwata teri nannyinimu akwatirwa ku mmere ye kati bano bamafiya kasaba mu bye 50 million ne babba leediyo zino kano akawumba tutu akafekete ne kagamba mbu leediyo zazze ate amasomero gaddamu kati ate bagulira ki leediyo endala kati ekyo kitegeeza options zaabwe zigenze ziggwawo the moment they threaten Museveni survival Museveni cannot retire when this mafia gang is still strong ayina okumala ogikuba two options endala bagenze wa Bobi Wine nakuba jakatambi ku Saturday nga Mwenda ababuuza mwami Mwenda ndi mungu mu fellowship ani atakolagana na Bobi Wine kakati that is a very big mistake by the way Bobi Wine temumanyi bamuvuga anybody who takes power after Museveni will know that Museveni is running this country as the way, in a modern way policies zezo kakati Bobi Wine after 5 years nga olina kwata power abantu bajja muwamba Museveni yali mugezi nnyo bwe yakwata power yajiddiza abantu ne beerondera kuva wansi n'abasasifayo kati bino ebiremi byammwe si abalondera parliament si yakolaki bamafiya balina lisiti y'aba MPs be bagenda okusasulira okuwa ssente oba beeno oba si beeno that's why nti I said Tango Odoyi don't shout at us Tango Odoyi you have exposed yourself resign ono namuganza bamugana okwogera ne baleeta Kadaga why should Kadaga why should monitor give Kadaga a headline why because Kadaga doesn't know that the mafia is using her now they want Kadaga to legitimize the elections it is not their interest now okukiza namuganza ayogere kati ate ye Tana ye yakutte wabi Tana agamba gundi oyo Tango Odoyi don't shout at us Tango Odoyi will respect his head and resign why yalemeddwa okufumbira abagenyi abatono agenda anasobola okufumba emmere Tana amugamba the votes are more than the delegates bamusibye ejjiribwa kati kyobalaba Tana the mafia controlled media temuwa kwogera the mafia controlled media tewa namuganza kwogera you have not seen a story about namuganza why a mafia controlled media tewa Tana publicity why because Tana exposes Tango Odoyi nti Tango Odoyi didn't you know the number kwa ababbi abali scientific mala kumanya baba delegates bali bameka Tana says with evidence that there are more votes than the delegates take responsibility and resign olemereddwa okufumbirwa abagenyi bana tukukwasa tutya okufumbira essomero Tango Odoyi yes but the mafias don't see why are they doing this they are doing this because they have a certain people they want to be on the executive who can top Museveni
Tamale Mirundi ba mafias bano olowooza bye bakola byonoona erinnya lya mukulembeze w'eggwanga ekirowooza tekyongera nze mbasinza amaanyi ankugambye nti Bobi Wine is suicidal buli abakulembeze bakigezezaako nti let Paulo Muwanga remove Obote tuteese n'abayeekera ba Museveni tusharinge power Muwanga had succeeded by the time Museveni came it was only NRA that rejected the peace talks fedemu yalimu bokero nga bakoze kansani semogere mwali olwo bitandi mwali olwo ne kuteesa yalimu